Welcome back to Cool Club's headquarters here in Scottsdale. Today we're lucky enough to have Travis Escalera from EvnRoll. You are the Product Development Manager.
Yes.
And we've got Mark Timms, our CEO and founder. And let's talk through EvnRoll's. So is this new for 2023?
Yes.
So your new putter line for 23.
Yep.
Where do you want to start?
Well, there's lots of parts here, so we got bits of everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, maybe we can start with the fitting kit here that I think all the cool...
I'll tell you what, let's just touch real quick on the roll and, kind of your pitch on why these grooves work and what they do and stuff.
Okay, perfect.
That's how you started, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of differentiator from you and everybody
Exactly.
else, right?
It's definitely the groove technology. So, yeah, why don't I go over that real quick and I can kind of show the viewers.
Yeah, here you go.
If you want to show it to
see this
them.
here. So this is the face.
So basically it's a parabolic groove. So
Right.
whereas
Look at
most
the grooves
companies
here.
will just have a straight groove on the putter face, ours are wider in the middle and then they start to taper and get smaller as you move out towards the heel and toe. And so basically in our testing, when we do robot testing with Quintech, we see that the ball speeds do not drop off
Gotcha.
when you mishit it out of the heel and toe.
Yep.
So
That's
you
the
know,
big deal right now, isn't it? And everybody's kind of working on that. As you miss it off center, and you do, right?
Right.
If it's on a 30, 40-foot putter or whatever, you miss it half-inch off center, on a standard flat putter, you lose about 6 yards or 6 feet or so.
Exactly.
So everyone's kind of negate that because longer putts, obviously are the biggest issue with speed control. So
Right. And
that's a big deal.
And as you know, speed is probably the most important thing
Yeah.
when it comes to putting, right?
You're not going to be 5 feet off line very often on a 40-foot putt, but you certainly will be off 5 or 6 feet. in
Exactly.
distance. Yep.
Even on those 5-6 footers, when you have a slider and you just barely miss hit it, it's nice to see it still get into the hole.
Right.
So
Talk about, I don't want to put you on the spot here with your testing procedure, but you've got a robot. Is it kind of like a static machine that you would manually pull, or does it robot itself to a certain position to hit the distance?
So it's funny that you say that. It's actually an iron Byron that we purchased, I want to say, from Golfsmith when they went out of business.
Really?
And so we retrofitted that to be a putting robot.
Okay.
And it has, it's not super high tech, but it's got a magnet release.
Yep.
So that
Gotcha.
way we can have a consistent
Right.
stroke every
Yeah.
time.
I've seen that done a couple times.
Yeah.
And then
So-
you just get lie angle, like dead square on the ground.
Yeah.
And you find your center point.
Correct.
Do you find the CG center point, or are you finding like your visual center with the line here?
So it really just depends on what we're testing, but we'll
Yep.
do a little bit of both.
Okay.
Both.
And then like zero angle of attack.
Yes, we try to have everything pretty much zeroed out for the most part, but we can adjust that depending on what we're looking at.
You can put it back in the stance and it's coming down more
Yeah.
or whatever.
Depending
So
on
you
what
can-
we're
you
trying
can
to
test
test for.
different. Yeah.
Have you messed around with like strike point vertically on the golf ball too?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we do tests where we map out like 9 points on the face, so it'd be like high toe.
Sounds like the same
high
thing we're doing with
center,
drivers
high-
and
Drivers
everything
and-
else.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we've done that before too. We
Yeah.
actually had a putting robot a while ago. We had 2 of them. We still have one, which we're going to pull out of the closet at some point.
Okay.
In the next, maybe this summer, and start testing some putters and seeing how that all works.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could get some testing
Yeah.
done on these things.
And we'll
That'd
let
be
you know what
awesome.
we get. I'm
That'd be
sure it's
awesome.
pretty similar to what you get. So
That'd be
Definitely
awesome.
will.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a modular system.
Yes.
We're talking not just modular in terms of hosels, which is great, but we've got back pieces, we've got front pieces, we've got weights in the bottom. Give us the rundown of like your biggest keys to being able to use this effectively.
Yeah, so basically, what I'm here to show you guys today is really the V series line. That's what we're most excited about, and V stands for versatility.
Okay.
And so I think when it comes to, someone like you who does fittings, this is perfect because we started, it was about 2 years ago when we started this line, and it started with just adjustable hosels. So we've had 6 different hosels, as I was telling you earlier. We have a short plumber neck, a long plumber neck.
Jared, can you bring this up on the screen while Travis is running through it, and I'll show people what he means by long plumbers and short plumbers. We can just flick through.
So all different kinds of options for, the golfer that wants to have a different amount of offset, a different amount of toe hang. So it really changes the way the putter swings and reacts. And then what we've done for this 2023 line is we've come out with some really cool shapes and a really cool family of putters that I'm excited to tell you about, which is the EV5 family of putters, which has a very unique weighting system. So we've added weights to all the models as well, which is something different for 2023.
So
right.
the
'Cause
EV5
initially, it doesn't have any weights, adjustable weights
No.
and stuff on the bottom, right?
Yeah, we
So-
used to mill 3 different heads.
That
for
was
the
it. I
different
remember the
lengths.
head weights being
Yeah.
length specific.
Which has its own
Yeah.
challenges and complications for us. So,
Right.
So the
This is
weighting-
definitely a cool way to go. I mean, it makes you basically you got this kit here, and you've got how many putter combinations?
I haven't done the
Hundreds probably,
done the
right?
math yet, but it's definitely hundreds. It's
Yeah.
definitely hundreds.
Right.
We had a little chat earlier, and you wanted to touch on something which is very important in terms of the milling process. Is you've got that port in the back of the face there.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. I mean, if we wanted to
There you
just
go.
start chatting about the EV5, so basically, here's probably the most sold model so far in terms of pre-sales, which is the EV 5.2. And as I explained earlier, it's very modular. So we have a stainless steel 303 front section here. And then we have an aluminum rear section where we can get tungsten weights deep into those wings for higher MOI or added stability. But I think what you're referring to here is this hole that we've cut out into the back of it.
Yeah.
And so what that's really for is for CG location. So when we did our tests, you know, we tend to benchmark the industry and kind of see what's going on with other putter manufacturers. We realized that a lot of their CGs weren't really in line with the sight line.
Yeah, that's pretty common actually.
Yeah, it's more common than
Some intentional, and mostly not though.
Right. So what that does is, you know, this gets hidden when the putter gets put together, so you can't see that there. But it's a way to get the CG in line with the sight line. So the CG's nuts on with this putter.
And would that vary? I can see obviously the lengths of your hosels vary. You know, if you had that inline slant there, much less weight in that than there is along plumbers, right?
Correct. So what we did to sort of mitigate that is, I don't know if you noticed, so on this hosel here, this is the inline slant. Yep. There's no channel in it.
Okay, I see that. So
on some of the others, so like on the plumber neck I have here, there's a channel in it.
Yeah.
Right.
So really the variation in weight on the hosels is very minimal for having different lengths.
Got it.
Yeah.
So
you make the longer necks, you put a bigger channel in it.
Correct.
You get basically the same material used.
Correct.
Oh, neat.
And then I don't know how do people adjust these after they've purchased them and say, oh, actually I want the black back on it, or I want the line version.
I think that's kind of the idea. So as I was kind of touching on earlier, is right now we have 3 different shapes. So this is the 5.3, EV 5.3, and I think as the years go by, we're going to come out with different shapes.
And you're going to sell those back things differently. So if you buy that putter, you know, next year and stuff, you want to go to the black one with a line on it or whatever.
Correct.
Some different ones of these, you'll be able
to upgrade
buy these separately. That's really cool.
For less than half the price of a new putter.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's not just aesthetics, right? You're working with Dr. Farnsworth in terms of alignments. Touch on, you know, some of the key points of why you'd have more lines or the black finish on the back there.
Yeah, so I think what we realize is there's different kinds of alignment with players. There are people who do better with sort of parallel lines. There are people who do better with perpendicular sort of aiming tendencies where they can aim, say, just the face of the putter perpendicular to the target. And so working with Dr. Farnsworth out at the Palms in Palm Springs, he's an eye doctor by trade, and now is the putting coach for a lot of high-level players. And so we worked with him on different aiming. And so this is actually his favorite model, which is the EV 5.3. And he likes to have a lot of his players use a putter with a square back.
Okay.
Got it.
So this is one that not only does it has a square back, it has kind of this rectangular window here. So that's what we call like a macro aiming, whereas like a line would be like a micro aiming device.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of both here.
So macro is what you call macro aiming is the overall shape of the putter and how you line up the overall shape.
Correct.
And the smaller one is obviously where you put a dot or you put a line or
where it's much more specific.
Yep,
right.
Specific. Yep.
And then as well, some more
way of explaining it.
Yeah. And some more macro aiming with this putter is this is called our duo finish.
I was going to say the contrast of it.
Yeah, so it's a bicolor finish. And so basically what happens here is this blade aspect, this silver front piece, really stands out. And for guys that like to see whether or not that's square to the target, this is a good setup.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it in the all black just because I'm a golf geek and I like it all blacked out. But I get the technology.
With just a really big line across the back?
Yeah, I've got one here. This is
that's
the
me,
EV12,
right? So,
right?
Okay. That's it, me, exactly.
I'll pass this over to you.
Yeah, I may need to.
So you're a long line guy.
I'm a long line guy, so I'm super linear. I mean, to me, all the curves on the green. If you talk about people, whether they're linear or non-linear. So some people actually see left breaks coming into the hole as curves. To me, everything's a straight line. I mean, a curve is a straight line put together, a bunch of small ones put together. So, the bigger the line, so this is right up my alley. So my long putter looks just like this. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. You use a long putter.
Yeah.
Very long
like
putter.
Very long.
Weighs about 18 pounds.
No, it's very heavy. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it probably weighs about. It's heavy. Yeah. But it has a big long line on it. This is awesome looking. I could definitely make this into one.
Thank
and
you.
How heavy can you get this? Now we're getting off track.
I was just going to say that.
Talking about my putter.
So we can get that up to about 420 grams.
Ooh.
Okay, that's close.
So
one's like 500, but that's.
Is it really?
Yeah.
In the head.
Yep.
Wow. That is heavy.
Cool. But you get to put a plumber's neck on it and
Oh,
get a
absolutely.
little bit more out of
Yeah,
it.
just fill this hole in the bottom, just
Fill that with lead tape, yeah.
Good, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's funny. So that's funny that you mentioned that hole in the bottom. So that
what's that
actually
about?
that actually
Pick
picks
the ball
up off the green.
And this fits inside a cup.
It does.
I don't recommend this, by the way, because you destroy cups if you're,
And your putter.
especially if you had a couple drinks trying to get the putter out of the hole, you're going to take half the lip out with it.
So that one doesn't actually fit inside the green, but it will pick it
Oh,
up.
it'll pick up.
It
Okay,
will
that's
pick up
good.
the ball.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
And it's functional as well, so it actually helps to spread the weight out.
Right,
towards
obviously it's a good
towards the
MOI
corner,
story.
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a cool. I didn't think
Yeah, that's
about
really
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can we talk about the smaller model? Is it the
That's
two?
still two pieces? Is that the
Yes.
same putter or is that different? That's a different putter.
no, this is
Yeah,
a different
right,
putter.
gotcha.
So this is the EV12,
Right.
and this is actually reversed. So this is aluminum body
Yep,
with
tungsten.
steel weights.
Yep.
Oh,
there's
right,
steel out there.
Yeah, these are steel.
Yeah, so just make those out of tungsten. It'd be
There you go.
500.
Yeah,
That'd be
so
good, right?
that would be
Yeah,
something
so-
we could easily do for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That would be cool.
Is this what you were talking about?
Yeah,
the EV2?
So your rep brought this out a little while ago, and this is the one that I looked at and I was like, oh man, I love the back of that thing. It's hard to see on camera here, but the profile of the very back of the flange there is a couple of millimeters slimmer than it has been in previous years, right?
Very much slimmer. So with this putter, the ER2, which is our classic wide blade,
Yep.
that's definitely been our most popular putter over the years. And so what we did was we wanted to make a lot of improvements to it with this new EV2 in the B series. So not only did we add the weights on the bottom, tungsten weights, but we really streamlined it and made the profile very low and sleek. And you can see with the bumpers or the back pads, they're, like you say, they're
Yeah.
very squared off and very low.
And I don't know why, but I mean, obviously there's some science behind it, but you put it down on the ground and it's like it's a piece of the ground. It
Right.
sits so tight and it's just like just asking to be taken away nice and low. And I love that as a putting guy, like coaching and fitting, is when you can get that putter nice low on the way back, it gives you that upward strike and
Exactly.
just helps that whole that visual and the feel aspect.
That's funny that you say that, because with the EV5, that was a big part of the design process, was we wanted to make it very low profile, because we do feel
Right.
like, and we've seen in our testing, that it promotes an upward attack angle.
Yeah.
Which, as you guys probably know, it creates a lot of forward
Right,
spin
right.
Yeah.
on the putt.
That's what I say to guys. Best thing you can do is have a little bit of an upward blow with low loft, and you're going to get the ball tumbling real quick.
Yep.
And obviously with your groove technology, that's going to help.
Yep.
Miss hit technology.
What's the loft on your putter?
Our standard is actually lower than, I would say, an industry standard. It's 2 degrees as opposed to,
Yeah, we
you
do
know,
the same thing on our stuff. Basically, if you put enough grooves on there, right, you
Right.
can actually get away with lower.
Yeah,
The only
you-
downside to that is if you're down on a putter, that's not going to work. But,
Yeah, exactly.
If you're leveled up at all, definitely rolls better that way.
Definitely.
What do you do in terms of lie angle and loft adjustment? Can you bend these things even though they've got the hosel in there?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we, on our website, we allow you to bend them up to about 4 or 5 degrees either direction. So
you can order them preset, but in terms of us, if we're on the shop floor, can we nudge them around post production?
They're stainless steel hosels, right?
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They
so
can
no
they can bend
problem.
a ton. They're not gonna break.
They're
Yeah.
very sturdy. They're very sturdy.
Have you guys ever seen those, Scotty Cameron's done some, they twist the hosel around them. That's actually not that hard to do.
Oh, okay.
You just stick it in a vise and heat it up and bend it. So.
Oh, when
Yeah.
the fancy,
the twisted hosel things, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can bend the putter quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so in terms of the weights, what's the base head weight of like the blade, for instance? Is it because I think it was 350 was your lowest, and you went up to 370, and obviously now you've got maybe more variants.
Yes. So with these putters, we're going the lightest. We're going 340.
Okay.
The mid. So that's for the 35-inch putter.
Yep.
And then at 34, we're going 355, and then at 33, we go 370. So what that does with our stock grip is it gets us to a really nice swing weight of D7. That's kind of like the target that we shoot for
Right.
our putters.
Okay. And your stock grip on there's a Super Stroke.
It's a foam style.
Oh, sorry.
It's called our Tour Tack grip.
Yeah.
We make it and design it ourselves, but it's a foam style grip, non-taper.
Yeah. Awesome. What was I just about to say? In terms of the head weights, can I order a 34-inch putter at a 370 head weight?
100%, 100%. And so with this EV5 family,
But yeah, we can just change the screws.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
we're creating a weight kit where you can just purchase all the weights and really mess with them, because this weighting system is really unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got quite a few of them. You got 6 of them in here. So.
Yes.
How much? What is they? What are the? How high or low do they go?
So
the big ones go up to 30. Is
The
that
big
right?
ones go up to 34 actually in
Okay.
our arm lock, our mid lock product that we
Right.
offer. So you could order it that heavy if you want, and then the rear ones get up to 8 grams, which is pretty
Okay.
Yeah,
pretty
a lot.
So you got
substantial
quite a
for how
bit then.
small
You got
they are.
30 and another, 34 you said. So
34. Yep.
yeah, so it's almost 60 grams.
Yep. And then in the
Just
back,
one set,
in the
right,
back you
right,
get 32, which is having the weight back here. we've seen really increases MOI.
Yeah. We've seen some putters recently. We can actually like nudge the weights around a little bit, move them up and backwards.
Well, you can probably do that with this too. Because what's the minimum on these 8-gram ones?
So we have ones that are 3-4 grams. So you can get them real light if you want.
So you can drop 5 grams from each one. So that's 10 grams. And then how light is the bigger one?
Those go down to 14.
Okay, so half. So 25 grams you can take off one side versus the other. So yeah, you can actually make it.
So that'll get the putter rotating
change
a
the toe hang
or
adjust depending on how. Correct. Having a hard time releasing it, you make it lighter. So
it'd be similar to a driver, right? If you're pulling it, you can just weight up the toe and slow it down.
Well, it's quite a bit more weight than the driver, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got tons.
Exactly. Obviously, it's a slow science putting, so you got to be.
You got to use more mass.
Big weights.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your arm lock? Have you got pre-milled loft in there?
So our arm lock product is pretty unique. It's actually we've coined a term called the mid lock. And so Garen Reif, who's our CEO and chief designer, he created this grip where it's actually the widest pistol grip allowed by the USGA, which is about 1.75 inches in any direction. Yeah. And so what it does is it presses the grip away from your arm, so that way you don't have to lean it as far forward. So
some of the Superstruck do something similar to that too.
They have a similar grip. Yeah.
Actually, TK actually helped with that idea. We actually were wrapping tape around the thing to build it up to figure out how much of a bump we needed to get the thing lined up right. So
actually,
similar thing.
LAB have got one as well, right, where it kind of goes into the grip and the grip's hammered off.
The shaft goes in at an angle, I believe.
Yeah. The shaft goes in and it kind of
at about a 3-degree angle.
But the grip ends up at 5 or 6 degree lean at forward.
So what that does is it pushes the shaft away from your arm, and especially with a mid lock or an arm lock, instead of having 7-8 degrees of loft on it sometimes for some guys, they're really leaning it forward. It can tend to be awkward. But with our product, we set it at 4 degrees standard. Okay. So it's like you're looking at more of a standard putter.
Yeah,
but it's locked on your arm.
A big lock on it. And I like that for guys, struggle getting off the ball, get it off the ball outside the line. I like, once it's got leaned forward a little bit, it gets inside the line on the way back a bit quicker. So it's a really quick tool to fix some of that stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So how many models actually are there? So you've got...
So we have the one in the V series. We have the 1-blade model, which is the EV2, which I showed you.
Right. So basically a wide flange.
Yes.
Right.
And then we kind of have a mid mallet here, which is the EV8, which I didn't talk about, which is kind of a pretty sort of mid mallet. And then we have the EV5, which
is this one, which is 10 different putters in one, right?
So basically, so basically, there's 3 models: the 5.1, the 5.2, the 5.3. Yes.
And then you've got the squared off back one.
And then the squared off back. Yeah. Yes. And so these come in 3 different finishes. And then we have the EV12, which is the one that you were saying you like.
This one here, yeah.
So that's kind of
our next long putter.
Our high MOI sort of putter in the V-series.
There's no slim blade?
No, not in the V-series, not yet.
Okay.
So that's something that we'll probably be taking a look at here pretty soon.
Yeah, Spice don't have a standard type answer style one.
So we do in our classic line. Okay. It's called our ER 1.2.
Yeah.
Which is the answer style putter.
But this is a great tool for us.
We got to go this way though, because
we
do not want to be able to adjust it and play around with it to get exactly right.
Yeah, for sure. And just in terms of the fitting, some things that we see, like even tour players that come into our fitting studio, and they go, I'm a plumber's neck guy. I've always been, and then they'll get into the studio and they'll see the data, and sometimes they'll leave with like a short slant neck.
Or
something. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah. So that's why I'm sure you guys know that fitting's very important.
Well, yeah, data on pattern. I think people underestimate pattern. First of all, pattern when you get it right, you can walk away from that session and have a better game the next day.
Right.
It might take a while to get a driver or a set of clubs working, to change your score.
Right.
And secondly, you just have more confidence with every shot. If you can hit it and you feel I'm going to hold an 8-footer every now and again, it makes the game a lot less stressful, right?
I agree.
It's fun when you're holding putts.
Putter fittings, get overlooked a lot, and it's like
Yeah, they do. We tell that story all the time because we do a lot of putter fittings, probably more than most. We got 2 studios here in the store here, and we get people all the time that call and say, well, I want to do driver fitting, I want to do an iron fitting. You want to do a putter fitting? No, I'm a good putter. My kind of answer to that is, so are guys like Aaron Badley, and they come in once a month to check their putting. So you'll learn something. If you can get a little bit better, it's phenomenal. He's probably got the best stroke I've seen.
He's amazing.
Keeps check on it. That's why doesn't let it slip and get comfortable.
And I mean, you use your putter, twice as many times as you use your driver in a row.
Right. No, I use by far the
3 times
scoring club.
For some of us, right?
Mate, thank you so much for coming out today.
Awesome.
Great products. Everyone go and check it out and come to us.
When can we expect these things to be in store?
I think they launch February 24th in schools.
Cool. All right. So, catch part of the season.
Pretty close. A couple of weeks away.
Coming up soon.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Travis.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mark.
Thanks.